Hello goddesses, this is Jonita, this is your feminine lifestylist, and I really wanted to check in with you. Happy spring equinox, and I am tuning in from not a very glamorous location, so I don't have a very glamorous background. This is part of my building site where I am, if you see. Well, of course, there is beautiful greenery and nature around, but yeah, this is my life for now. I'm living in between the construction phase of a project that I am completing here in my mom's house, and I have been longing to connect with you all because I'm missing out on your energies. I feel like this is the time, we all are facing our own triggers in our own ways, and I am feeling the need and desire and longing to connect with you, to communicate with you. And it's been quite interesting because, first of all, on one side, I feel like totally cocooning into my zone and disconnecting from the rest of the world, which I'm really good at, I must say. And on the other hand, I feel the longing to get out there and express myself, and specifically to this community and this work of the Divine Feminine. So happy spring equinox to my sisters in the southern hemisphere. Happy autumn equinox. How are you celebrating? What is going on? What is present for you? Share with me. I today want to share with you something that I have been contemplating, and the divine speaking through me, and what I feel is something that our feminine needs to hear right now in these moments of chaos and the global pandemic, whatever they say. So yeah, how have you been feeling? For me personally, it's been a very challenging time as well. Since the last 1 month, we've hardly taken any day off. There is something or the other to do, which is again related to the building project, and I am hoping to complete this project in the next 2 weeks' time, given the fact that the lockdown which the Indian government has imposed kind of rules off soon and the work can go ahead. But it has been personally very challenging for me, also specifically being with the family and all the triggers that come up, and revisiting my childhood wounds, and looking after my inner child, and also staying true to my beliefs and my truth without getting triggered by their beliefs, or allowing them to impose their beliefs, or allowing myself to impose my beliefs. So it's been a very emotional roller coaster for me here. And then now we are in this lockdown condition where you're not allowed to go out. Everything, even the beaches, the parks, the restaurants, the bars, the petrol station, the groceries, everything is closed. Schools, everything is closed. So we are homebound, which is really nice. But what some of the downsides are that first of all, my husband, he has somehow managed a foot injury because of the building work, and so he is bedridden, so I'm having to look after, and yeah, that's not a challenge. And most importantly, the reason I'm not connecting that often is because of the challenge of the internet. So I had to usually travel in the morning around 8 o'clock. So the internet speed is good between 8 to 10 in the morning in a specific place. So I usually take a tuk-tuk, what you call an auto rickshaw here in India. I take the tuk-tuk at 8 a.m. in the morning. I spend 2 hours in that place, and I come back and get on with life here. So now that the travel has been restricted, I don't know when and how I'm going to post this video, but given the speed that I have in my mobile, it may take ages, but I want to give it a go. So there are quite a lot of challenges which are very different from probably the challenges you might be facing right now. So I wanted to share something really deep and important, because I feel like exhaustion has been an underlying theme for a lot of us women, me personally as well, and to be honest, the collective, the Mother Earth. So hence this time of quarantine, the lockdown, as they say, is kind of a blessing in disguise. And I've been reading, researching, contemplating, asking a lot about where to go, how to be, and how can I also be in my personal leadership and do my service from this perspective, to myself, to my loved ones, and also to you, beloved sisters. Yeah, of course, the social distancing is something that I think they should have rephrased it. It shouldn't have been social distancing. It should have been something like physical distancing or something, because social media helps us to connect. And at this time, this is one of the crucial sources. So we must not social distance ourselves from people who are of the same tribe, specifically, who understand what you're going through. So I wanted to share some feminine wisdom that you need to hear right now, which is very important amongst all this chaos. And the very first thing that I want to say, very strictly, as part of being a conscious woman, as part of being a feminine explorer, a person who is aware of her essence or her developing essence, it is really important that we do not take part in spreading the fear. There is already a lot of it around. Media is making people crazy. We do not have to be a part of spreading the fear. And you might be feeling the fear, and this is why it is the time for us to step into personal leadership and remember our truth. Not everything that media is showing, the mainstream media is showing, is reliable. It's the agenda is to spread the fear and bring the consciousness to a lower level, so that again a new level of control can be imposed. And so we must be very vigilant here. So refrain from spreading the fear, because of course it is I'm not saying it's a serious issue. It's not a serious issue. It is a very serious issue, the virus and stuff. But to be honest, if you really look at reliable news sources, then the cases of death are really minute. More amount of people die of road accidents and flu each year, of vaccination, of cardiac arrests, and each year, and the statistics have been only growing every single year, and those numbers are literally tens and hundreds of times more than what the numbers are currently being shown about this coronavirus, as they say. So even if you are feeling the fear, I want to remind you that do not be a part of the fear. You are, if you are watching this, you are not here to be a part of the fear. You are here to be the source of courage in these fearful times. So it's really, really important, And the second feminine wisdom that I want you to hear is look for information from reliable sources. As I said, that if you just spend time watching the news 24/7, you are going to go crazy. As I said, that a lot of people die on a regular basis in the war zone, in road accidents, in stupid accidents, literally, viruses, cancers, and other things that are happening in the world. And this virus has just taken over everyone's fear. Do your research. There is a really interesting saying in the Yeshua traditions. in the teachings of Yeshua and Mary Magdalene, where they invite their disciples who they initiate, and they tell them to be as where they tell them to be mosquitoes. So the saying goes something like, be as pure as a dove, and at the same time as wise and vigilant as a serpent. So all those the religion that forbids snake medicine. Snake is our snake is our dark truth. So it's really important that we stay open in our grace and in our courage, but also not in foolishness. I think that's the word that I will choose. If you are not able to differentiate between conscious information, conscious news and media, then you are not serving the higher purpose here, the highest good here, because the mainstream news is not made for highest good. No. So reliable source of information. So one of my very favorite mentors is Dr. Bruce Lipton, and he is a spiritual scientist. He's got his research institutes and things like that. So very reliable information, and talks about quantum physics and biogenetics and all of that, and which is really important because the science is part of spirituality. And I really recommend visiting his page and reading his comments and reviews on this coronavirus thing. So might give you different perspective. Yeah, so you can become wise as the serpent and lead your life from that space. So that's one of the things. Another thing, oh my god, there are plenty of mosquitoes. Another thing that I want you to listen, and it is about your feminine. What aspect of your feminine are you denying right now? And it is important that we listen to this, because once again, if you look at the spread of this virus, it attacks our respiratory system, which is related to the emotion of grief. Very important. The world is grieving right now. What is your grief? What part of the feminine, of your feminine, have you not uncovered, or have you been denying? So when now is the time for you to be going inwards and really questioning these things, because after all of the problems we have is quantum physics and metaphysical. So think about, where is that grief inside of you? What is that grief of the feminine inside of you? And take this moment of going inwards, of rest, as an opportunity to tend to that, to nourish that aspect, to play with that aspect, look after, be there for that aspect. So I'm not saying that you need to figure that out and resolve it ASAP. No, most of the times our feminine requires our attention only. Yeah, so that's the thing. And another piece of feminine wisdom I want you to hear is that disease, any kind of disease, is just a frequency. It is just a frequency. So this is the truth of metaphysics and quantum science, that everything is energy, everything is a frequency, everything is a consciousness. So it is up to you what frequency you choose. Do you choose the frequency of fear, or you choose the frequency of health? So again, it's about getting into your personal leadership. talking about that, I just got reminded, I forgot to mention, one of the challenges that I have been also facing is the cancellation, not cancellation, probably a hold that I have put on my next retreat, which is the Sacred Feminine Leadership Retreat, happening later in this year. So hopefully things will subside and I can get on with marketing and sharing more about this. But a lot of women have been strongly called to participate, and I've been strongly feeling the download of curating a beautiful transformational experience of us women stepping and developing more of our feminine leadership. And here we are given a chance to to really embody that in whichever way is real for us, because it looks different for every single feminine. So another thing that I want your feminine to listen is losing my voice, is your being. Now, you know that there are 4 levels of being, and it is important that we focus on all of these 4 levels of being. Not just, and these 4 levels of being is your physical, your spiritual, your mental, your emotional realms. All of these constitute your beingness. The human being that you are comprises of all of these 4 elements, and oftentimes we forget. Now during these times of fears, it's a really beautiful opportunity once again for us to tune into, to reassess these 4 levels of being for each one of us, and how it is playing in each one of our lives. So for example, like the physical realm, it invites you to look into your physical well-being. So at this time of crisis and the fear and the virus going on, it is your responsibility to feed your body and nourish your body in a way that it develops and improves its own immune systems, so hydrate yourself well, eat nourishing food, a lot of ginger and turmeric tea. That's what I've been doing. So all of these things boost your immunity. So taking care of our physical being realm is really, really vital right now, so that we are able to operate from this point of personal leadership. The next is your emotional realm. So what about emotional realm? Emotions are pretty much energy in motion, and if you're feeling any fear, my advice to you right now is to feel the fear and move it in your body. So movement medicine is one of the beautiful ways to transmute any fear. Put up this music, move your body, dance it out, dance out the fear, and you will notice this shift in your energy. This has been my savior in the darkest of my moments, to be honest. Another way you can feed and nourish your emotional realm of being is by connecting to your loved ones. This is again one of the times where you're called to slow down. You see, we've been asking for this. We as this collective have been so busy in the doing. We men, women, the collective, have been so busy doing that. Now we've been forced, and we've been asking for this. So you can nourish your emotional realm by connecting with other people, your loved ones, checking on them, spending time, because connection, a loving connection really so that's the Muslim prayer that goes on at this time of the evening. So yeah, that's happening in the background. One of the things I love about this lockdown is that the Indian streets have become considerably quiet, so it is less noisy, less polluted, less honks. So yeah, connect with your loved ones. It produces these oxytocins in your body, that is the happy hormone. Now the spiritual realm, you can nourish and feed your spiritual realm by connecting with the divine within. Now, this coronavirus, the name itself is really interesting because corona in Greek and several European language means crown. It's connected to the crown center of our consciousness. So another hint here for us is to connect to our crown wisdom, our crown chakra. How can we do that? How can we connect to the divine? Again, womb breathing is a very beautiful process that I use to connect to the divine. Journaling is another aspect. If you have a process or a method or a ritual, please share as well your way of connecting with the divine. But once again, this is an opportunity for us to literally bring together everything that we have learned and we've been working towards, so that we can now step into the highest level of our being, and now the mental level of our being. So how can you nourish the mental level of your being? And that is by looking after your thoughts. What are you speaking to yourself? Are you getting caught into the fear of the moment? Again, this moment is a beautiful blessing in disguise. You can call it a quarantine, a lockdown, or you can use it as an opportunity to create a retreat at home for yourself. Cook nice food, watch that movie, or listen to that audio course that you revisit, any courses that you bought, read a book. You have so many things that you can feed. You already have a lot of resources. So ask yourself, what is it? What is that thing that you already have? That book, that course, that audio that you've been waiting to revisit one day, and that day has never arrived. So perhaps this is the time. Yeah. So what I want to say to close with is that all of this is a choice. Ouch. Mosquito. All of this is a choice, and it's up to us if we're going to make use of this choice or not. If we're going to use our freedom, our personal sovereignty, because sovereignty is freedom, and if you do not use the power of your choice, then you are not a sovereign person. You are not utilizing your freedom. So it's a beautiful opportunity for you to rest, slow down, reconnect. And in this group, we are today beginning the spring equinox 7 days of rituals. So I really hope that you are participating. I will be definitely participating amongst all of this chaos. I'm going to be tuning in every day. So I would love you to join in as well. Let's share our inspirations, support each other. Another thing that I wanted to do as well is do a sacred chant. Few times I've done that in the past in the group as a Facebook Live, but I was thinking I can do a watch party or something like that and do a sacred chant sometime next week, so that all of us can activate the vibration of our self-healing, which is so much required. So if you would like to join, please also drop a comment and let me know, and I will be doing it anyways. But any interaction, communication, and sharing from you is also a personal joy for me, because I do feel really isolated from the rest of the world right now, and sisterhood is always beautiful. So I did not expect to speak for that long, and it's getting dark here. I'm gonna show you what's behind me. Behind me is a school under construction. That's the school. So you can see some coconut trees in the background, or on this side is much more greener. Well, so that's where I am for now. Look at all the mess behind. Oh, let me show you a banana tree. There you go, you see, that's a beautiful banana tree. Simple joys. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being here, and I'm sending you a lot of love, joy, and courage from this part of the world, because I know that these are the times where we've been preparing ourselves for these other times, so there's nothing to worry about. It's the time for us to come together and play with our wisdom. Let's get lighten up. Let's lighten up, because we have the choice and the consciousness and the tool and the support to face this together. So, loving you all, sisters. I'll see you in the spring equinox rituals.